Hey YouTube, in this episode I finish off the quick attach fittings and get them mounted on the arms. I mount the hydraulic rams on the arms, get them all attached, and I start to run the hydraulic lines. Let's get on with it. Alright, I'd just like to take a little bit of time to explain exactly what I'm doing here, because this is different from the way it is in the plans, and it is different from the way I did the other one, and I think it's going to be better. I have two of these bushes cut as per all the others and the size in the plans, and I've cut these two about 3mm wider, just under 1/8 of an inch wider. The idea here being that these two that are the normal size go in the bottom holes to go up against the bushes there. These ones in the bottom hole will sit proud just maybe a 1/64 of an inch, about 1/2 millimetre thereabouts, just so that bush on bush rubbing, as I've spoken about before. And these ones here will stick in a good deal further so that we actually get a good contact on the bushes up on the other end, because the way I put the other one together, I haven't really got a good contact up on the other end. There's a lot of slop in it, and I'm thinking that there could be too much slop in it. So that's the plan for this one. Now I'll go through it slowly, step by step, because as I say, I'm not going to change the plans just for this. I will make a note in the plans to refer anyone who wants to build one to this video so that they can see an alternate way of doing it, if it works out, of course. First thing to do is to decide top and bottom. Well, at the moment there's really nothing to pick from. Either end can be the top or the bottom, but once we put a bush in it, we're locked in. They are handed, so we need to do it right. So if we turn them like that, put a bush in this end like that, that will ensure that we get it right. I just haven't got these prepped quite well enough. There's some burrs on them that I want to go and grind off, so I'll just turn the camera off, go and prep them properly, and come back and we'll put it together. Get these hammered in. And now I need an ingenious way of controlling just how far this goes through. Ah, there we go. Find another bit of shim material like this, and I can just shim that up and bang, hits through until it touches the cable. There we go, found one. Might put another one up the other end just to make sure she goes through nice and level. How's that? That's really nice and neat, and just as far through. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but that's around about 1/64 of an inch. Trying to get a metric size on it, I'd guess probably about 1/4 or 1/3 of a millimetre, somewhere in that area. Do this other one and get him exactly the same. He's down nicely. Now I think the thing to do right now is to put a tack on him before I do anything else. 2 small tacks opposite each other on each one, I think, just to hold him in place while I get the rest of it all prepped up. Because I only want a couple of small tacks on this, I am using 6013 rod, 2.5mm, running about 85-90 amps on it, and it's going to get 2 really tiny tacks on it, I hope. Just like that. And he pulled anyway. Okay, let that be a lesson. Check it after the first tack. No, get that right, I'm going to have to cut that top tack. Alright, let's try the other one, and we'll check him in between tacks this time. See if we can get him right second time. Nothing like experience as a teacher. Didn't pull at all, that one. Oh dear. That's what happens when you check it. That one remained good. I'll just cut this top tack. Put another tack on him. I'll do that bit off camera. Now that you've seen how badly I can do it, I've got these other 2 bushes properly prepped now. And I'm going to start by putting them through these, same as I did the others. Then I'm going to take them over to the tractor, and I'm going to fit them to it and bang it through as far as I need to make the contacts and keep the thing as tight as I want to. Right, now they've got to go in further, but do that on the tractor. Now I'll bring them back here to weld them up. I'm going to try and do this all from around this side, which is arguably not the best side to be doing it from. See how we go. Now the ones that are tacked on are the ones, of course, that go down here. I need to get this out so I can put him in through this one first. And actually, even before I do that, I can see that I've got to go in there a good couple of mils, 2-3 mils. This is going to be tedious. I think I'll do one side at a time, because it's just going to be tedious taking it on and off all the time if I've got to do them both together. Oh, okay, well he's going to be loose enough. I might be able to actually do him while he's on here. He seems to be moving pretty easy. Alright, he's gone. Got in quite a long way in too, probably about 3 mils. A good 1/8 of an inch. Ooh, that's close. That is close. That is close. A little bit crooked on these two here that are jamming this in. This bottom one's also jammed because of it. I think I'm close enough. And if I put a couple of tacks on him, I should be able to get him right. Just tight through there. Yes, okay, I know how I'm going to fix that. Just got to get him off to do it. Okay, well that's a better fit up than this other one, I think. Let's go see about welding them. I did fit them again after I tacked them, which is just as well because I had to cut one and move it. It wasn't quite right. Once it was tacked, it was easier to position and make sure it was all good. So now I think I can go ahead and weld these. Now I ran that first bead with the same 2.5 mil, 3/32 of an inch, 6013 that I used for tacking. Let's see how that came out. Yeah, I don't need too much metal in there, so I think that'll do. I'll go ahead and just use this for the rest of the welds. Alright, even though I've got more meat on this inside here, I've decided that I'm going to weld on the outside. Probably doesn't make a lot of difference, but at least this way I won't have any question about which hand is which. The welds always go on the outside, I won't get confused. Of course, the downside of that is the weld's a little bit proud. I'll probably have to give them a grind so that the pin will go in there and sit flush. That's no biggie. Okay, they're done. Now, in case there was a little bit of confusion about why I put both those welds on the outside, I said that it was to make sure I knew which end was which. And if you look there, this one's sticking out more on this side, this one's sticking out more on this side, so I could get confused about which side they go on, but if the welds always go to the outside, I know I've got them on the right one because they're actually fitted per side. Many handmade and hand-fitted things can be slightly different from side to side, so I just find it's best to preempt and make sure that I build it so that I know which side's which, just in case there are minor differences. So they're done. I've got to go and make some more pins, and then the next job's the hydraulics. Well, there we are. The arms are together. I've still got to put the cross member in. I'm not doing that just yet. And the only other job I've got to finish on these is to drill some holes in the pins for the retainers and then cut them off to length because they're all just a little bit long. I left them long rather than short. That's it together. I've got to mount the control for it. I'm going to mount it on this side up here just to keep it away from the throttle and other things over there. And then hook up the hydraulics. And we're done. Well, we're moving right along now. I've made a trip out this morning and got all the got some of the hydraulic stuff I need. Certainly enough to get it all measured up. I bought 5.5 metres of the hydraulic hose, which I'm going to cut into the lengths that I need, and then I'll take it back and they'll crimp the ends on for me. I've got a whole swag of things to mount the hoses on to stop them rubbing. Got some crimp ends that go into the control handle. Go to these. Got some elbows. Got some straight bits to go into the control handle because some of them have got to be lifted up so that I can get some elbows in above the rest. All in all, he gave me all the parts that he said he thinks I'll need. I took the handle down, showed him what I needed to set up. As I say, he gave me all the parts that he thinks I need, and he said that whatever I got left over, just bring back and he'll take them back and exchange them for what I do need. Real nice fella down there. Now I've just got to go about putting the handle, the control handle, I've got to mount that on the tractor first. That's the very next job to do, and after that I'm going to go and start running the hoses for it. I'll just go and sort out what I'm going to do about mounting this handle and come back and we'll start looking at getting hoses on it. I've made myself up a bracket for mounting this control on. I just made it out of scraps. It's just a bit of 30mm SHS, about 1.25 inches or so. I just put a double bevel on each end just to sort of make it a little bit neat. That will take cornerways across like that, and it's going to get welded onto the tower. And then I've got these bolts in my scrap box, and I'm going to put them in like that and weld them down there at the base and probably up in there as well, so that they're nice and solidly in there. And then this will fit on there like that, and then after that it's just a matter of welding this on where I want it. Then once I got that welded on, I can get the elbows in here so that I can figure out just exactly where the ends of the pipes are going to be and run them to the elbows that I'll put on the rams. I know where that end will be and get the pipe cut exactly. That's the plan. Now to put the elbows on here, don't make them easy to come out. Try something a bit smaller. Right, just looking in here to see what moves. These are side to side and these are front to back. This is the tank side, this is the pressure side. Now on the pressure side, we've got the piston that moves side to side, and this is front to back. Pressure side, side to side, front to back, tank side. You can tell I haven't done much with hydraulics before today. It's a case of learn as you go. Expensive business buying fittings for hydraulics. I had no idea. I suppose I could have shopped around and got some Chinese ones, but I really felt more comfortable going down talking to the guy in the shop since I didn't know anything about what I was doing, and he was able to give me some good advice. And sometimes good advice is just worth paying that little bit extra for. Let's go and grab a spanner for them. Small ones will go on first, sort of like that. I'm not going to do them up real tight because I may want to angle them a little bit. I'll wait till I get it mounted on the tower. The long ones go on here like this so that the pipes all come out where you can get at them. Now I won't put the other elbows in. I've got these big elbows for in here. I won't put them in just yet. I'll just wait until closer to the end. After I've got the other pipes cut, I'll cut those last of all because I want a slightly larger pipe for the return to the tank to keep the pressure, the back pressure down. I haven't bought that yet. That'll be the last thing I measure, and when I go down to get the rest of these pipes crimped together, I'll get that one done as well. Hopefully by then I'll have worked out how I'm going to get the pipe back into the tank, which so far I haven't quite done. I've got the arms lifted up and mounted on stands. Going to try and level them up across so they're perfectly level. I've done this for a few reasons. One, I've got to work on the hydraulic rams, and I want to do that while they're in place, so it's easier for me to work standing up. That's one reason. The other reason is that I've got to get this cross member in, and it needs some trimming to fit, and that is because the arms are not quite sitting straight on the tractor. They're viewed this way slightly, and I think that's to do with the pivot pin. They're probably about 10 mils, half an inch say, out, going this way down at the ends. I'm not quite sure where it is. It'll only take a millimetre or so being out up that end to make it 10 mils out this end. But in any event, because they're skewed a bit, this cross member's not going in right. I can't push them straight because if I try to do that, it's going to, well, for one thing, it's going to bind, and for another, as it goes up and down, it'll bind even more. At the moment, my plan is to just line it all up and see how it all looks. Maybe tack the cross member in and see how it goes up and down, see how it looks. Failing that, haven't quite decided what I can do. The arms are parallel as they sit. They're parallel, but they're not parallel with the tractor, so because they're skewed this way, these aren't lining up across. Not out by much, but it was enough to notice it when I put the cross member in. I could notice that it wasn't straight across. I'll keep you posted on this one. I think I'm stuck with it. If I can't figure a way around it, I think I'm pretty much stuck with it. I'll just have to make the best of what I've got. In spite of the fact that it's going to double the weight of what I have to move around now, I'm going to put this cross member in because I want it in to help me run the hoses for the hydraulic so I can get them locked down exactly where I want them to be and cut them to length. I just think it's the right time to do it, although I am just a little bit anxious about having to lift that thing around once it's all together, because one arm's no trouble. I think two arms joined together is going to be a bit of an effort. Anyway, that's why I've got big, strong, young sons. They can help. Alright, now I've got him positioned about half an inch, just under half an inch overhang out each side, and I've used my square to make sure he's sitting near enough right. He is on the length of the square about half a millimetre out. I'm going to live with that. I don't think it's going to be all that noticeable. To fix it, I'd have to pull it back up this way a little bit. And I think there's enough gap down this end anyway, so I'm just going to leave it sit there. I'm going to put a tack up here in this corner. Then I'm going to go over to the other side and just see if I can get him tacked on. Then I might come back and tack these other corners once I'm happy with it. I may put a run across the top and leave the rest for now. I don't want to tack it too much in case something happens I have to get it off, but I do want it strong enough so that I can raise and lower these arms gently. Ooh, that'd be a lesson. I rethink my choice of rods there. First rod I chose was a bit too heavy for that. I need to go back to a 2.5mm rod. The 3.2mm, which is 1/8 of an inch, is too heavy, drew too much amperage and just burned through that corner a bit. Hopefully I'll be able to repair that with a 2.5mm rod and get it filled up. Otherwise I might have to put a reinforcing plate around that outside. I'm going to try and weld these bolts into the bracket that I've made to hold the hydraulic control. I know the bracket's a bit ordinary, but it's going to be hidden behind everything. You're not going to see very much of it. I want to just weld that straight in there, so I'm going to put a bead around this head. Then I might try and come and put something in underneath there. It's hard to get a bead in there because it wants to spark off everything around it. Oh, that worked alright. Now, a matter of seeing if it still fits. Nicely done. And once he's cooled down, I can see about putting him on the tower where he's going to live the rest of his life. Now, that's the bracket for the controls, the hydraulic controls, on the inside of the left-hand tower. Now, there's no particular place to mount it. I just put it where the control was convenient for me to use, and I've decided that I'm mounting my hydraulic control unit permanently on the tower, and my quick attach connections for the hydraulics are going to go into the pressure side and the return side of the tractor. So they've only got two connectors to detach in order to take the front end loader off. Now, I know most of them have 4 connectors on it, and that is for the rams on the front end loader, and their control unit is permanently attached to the tractor, but that didn't really appeal to me. I haven't really got anywhere on this tractor that I want to permanently attach that control where it's not going to be in my way. Tractor, I think, needs to be designed for that to happen. So anyway, that's where it's going to get welded. I'll put a bead of weld down this side, and later on when I get it off and get it on a decent angle to work on, I'll put a bead down the other side. These are the elbows that are going into the hydraulic rams, and I've never worked with these before. If the guy in the shop where I bought them hadn't told me how to use them, I wouldn't have known, because I'm just used to working with straight gal pipe, water pipe. That's all I've ever used by way of elbows, or I have used some copper ones where you solder them on, but I haven't used anything like this. And I wondered how you screw them in and get them facing the right way, and he just said, oh, that nut there, which I thought was attached to the rest of the elbow, and it was just for tightening the whole thing down, but you turn the elbow till you get it in and at the right spot, and then you tighten this nut down, and that holds it facing in the right direction. That's really neat, and anyone that's done any work with hydraulics probably knows all about that, but it was news to me, so I thought I'd just pass that along as something interesting. It's probably a good thing to know when you're doing things like this. Anyway, I'm going to start putting these in now. I don't think there's anything much to be seen with putting them in. I will show you how I position them and how I run the hose after I've done some of it. These nifty little things I bought to hold the hoses in place. Now there's nothing special about them, they're just a saddle. I could have made my own once I knew what I needed, but this job's dragged on quite a long time now and I am very keen to get it finished. So I decided that I would just buy these rather than take the time to make them and save myself a few hours work. Probably about there would be good. Need a bit of a swappies here on ones are the long ones and which ones are the short ones. In which case this one needs to be on the other side of this. Now the reason I'm mounting this up here is I want to keep it away from this exhaust as much as possible. If I mount it on the side it's going to be a lot closer. Right, now I've got to cut this hose, and again, guy in the shop advised me the best way to cut it was with a 1mm cut-off blade, which is just as well because I probably would have tried cutting it with a sharp Stanley knife or a hacksaw. So this cut-off blade is going to work. That's great. I'll cut the first one, then I'll show you exactly how to measure these with these fittings. I think you can see that in the camera. That's why you need a cut-off blade to cut through it, and it's got a whole heap of metal mesh in there to reinforce the rubber hose. Lots of sparks come out, and the big thing I noticed was that when you finish there's a lot of dust in this hose, so you need to actually get something in there and get that dust out. Give it a good shake first, and then maybe a cotton tip or something like that to pull the dust out of it, because the last thing you want is getting that through your hydraulic system. Hopefully we'll have enough light to see this, and hopefully it's going to work the way I'd like it to. I'll just show you how much rubber comes out of this. That's all the rubber dust, which you don't want in amongst your hydraulics. This is just one of the cuts on the hose, just to give you an idea how much bark comes out of it with that metal mesh reinforced. That metal mesh is fairly tough stuff too, because it's wearing the disc down quite quickly really, given the sort of stuff it's cutting. I guess it's stainless steel mesh in there. Well, this is just a matter of testing that the hinges aren't going to bind, and also to see what my chances are of lifting this around now that it's all together. Oh bloody hell, pretty remote. Oh, okay, well it can be lifted. It's not bound on anything. I'm not looking forward to it, I'll tell you that. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I know it's a good deal longer than I normally try to make my videos, but I wanted to clear the deck so that I could get on with the hydraulics in the next episode. As usual, if you'd like to see more of my projects, you can go to my channel or browse to my website. Don't forget to click like, comment and subscribe for more. Until next time.